Hi, everybody. It's episode 627 of PodQuest.
Hey.
It is Wednesday, August 19th, 2026. I am Chris. With me is Droo.
Hello.
And Walnut.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here for now.
You might disappear later. Who knows?
You never know with me, man. I'm a ghost.
You might just fall asleep.
Dude, I could, like, it has been a long week. So for a little behind the scenes of, like, one of my favorite YouTube channels I've realized over the past, like, week or so has been doing AI generated thumbnails. So I would, like, reach out to them on Blue Sky. I wouldn't watch the video because I don't want to give them the views. I wouldn't comment or anything. But I'd reach out to them on Blue Sky and I would comment on all their Reddit channels or on their Reddit posts about the videos going up. And it was Monday morning where I was just like, I've had enough. I want to enjoy these guys. I want to watch these guys, but having AI generated art, it's not a good look, and it's bad, and the art is bad, and you should not be using AI generated art for anything, even something as silly as thumbnails. So I posted on their Reddit, which I don't often do. I don't often, like, really post on Reddit. I may comment here and there, but I don't often post. And basically made a post saying, like, we need to push back on them about the AI generated thumbnails. We need to get them to stop. This is bad. Like, this is a bad look. There's so much they could do so much better. It's not good. Like, we need to get them to stop because I can't support them anymore. I just linked you guys their channel if you guys want to see some of the thumbnails. And so I posted that Monday morning around 8:30, around like maybe 9:30. It has more interactions than any post on that Reddit has in recent weeks. Primarily overwhelmingly positive.
They're not even good thumbnails.
No, and so like there's
thumbnails
a
are just
handful.
bad.
And that's the like I don't care if the thumbnail is bad, but I do care if it's a bad AI thumbnail.
Like,
Some
I
of them
don't look at thumbnails when I watch YouTube videos. Like, those don't draw me in at all. But like, these are just bad.
Yeah. So like the one, and I was like, so I posted on this Reddit, and I was like, we need to push back. And there's overwhelmingly positive results of people saying, yes, I agree. Like, if they keep doing it, we're gonna have to stop watching. And then, of course, the vocal people. Whenever you talk anti-AI, of you're a liberal cuck.
I mean, that's the internet.
Then the people who sit there saying, well, who cares what the thumbnail is? I'm already subscribed and watch their videos. It's like, you may not care, but new viewers will. And honestly, it makes a difference. Like, AI thumbnails, like, it's still art that they're stealing. So like, there was just literally from like 10 o'clock to like 2, I wasn't doing any work. I was in Reddit, just responding and countering people. I eventually did hear from one of the editors where she admits to using some of the AI tools, which, like, is a gray area, but like, it's the tools to like help cut certain things out of the image and stuff like that. Like take a snip of like a building from one image to help move it into another, stuff like that. Like, which I think is fine personally. If you're using the tools to help cut stuff out to be able to move them around and stuff, that to me is absolutely fine. And then another one of their editors reached out to me yesterday morning saying that, like, so one of the thumbnails that you saw, one of the first thumbnails, it was in the prison is the video. She was like, I said to her, I was like, that one is questionably the only one of that series, and I'm questioning whether or not AI was used. And she was like, AI was not used in that one at all. I promise you, I made that. I don't use AI. And she's like, any of that series is not AI. I promise you that. But some of the others, like any of them with the bear, if you scroll down far enough, you'll see one where a bear is in the background behind a couple of guys. The forehead of that bear has abs. It's bad. It's bad. And so, like, I gave them a list of what I thought was the most egregious. Like, the one of the two people standing on the ledge. Terrible. Some of them are harder to figure out. Some of them are not. The second one on their page, where it's the two guys standing in front of the forest, that's incredibly bad. Because in that game that they're playing, you do not dictate the size and shape of your character. All characters are the same size and shape. Look at the proportions of those characters. Are way off. Way off. So like that to me is more of a situation of they gave them some images and said, hey, give me a thumbnail like this using these images, and that's what AI gave them, which is bad. That is bad. Like that is not how this should work. So yeah, I've just kind of been dealing with that, and midway through yesterday, I kind of just got exhausted with the conversations and arguments because there's just so many people out there that are just responding, well, I don't care. I watch them for their content. And it's like, yeah, well, if we let them pass with the little things like the thumbnail, they could start doing more AI content if we let it go. And then also countering the people who are sitting here saying, yeah, I can never watch them ever again now because of this. And being like, well, hold on. If we get them to stop, you have to start watching them again. Because that's what a boycott is. And if you stop watching them because they started doing something, and then they admit to what they were doing and stop doing it, then you have to go back to them. Because otherwise, they have no reason to not do it anymore.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You have to go back to it. So it's like, I've been dealing with that. And just life in general and just being tired. But yeah, it's AI art pisses me off. It really does.
It's not art.
It's not. It's not art. It's theft. It's a drain on the environment and the economy and Earth's resources and everything else. It's just terrible. It is terrible. You should not use it. My stance is there are merits and uses to AI in general, information gathering for sure. However, you need to verify anything AI gives you because it can and is known to be wrong. That's why anytime we're on this podcast and I'm looking something up, I do state, like, per Gemini real quick, like, this is what it says. Like, I always emphasize, like, this is what Gemini says. I don't know for sure. I'm not an expert in this topic. Like, you always have to, it's a trust but verify when it comes to AI. And it's just like, it's disheartening watching one of your favorite channels go down this route.
Yeah, that is a bummer.
Yeah, and it sucks.
I mean, hopefully they make the changes, you know?
So they generally release a podcast every other Thursday, which I believe this Thursday coming up would be a podcast day. However, they usually record it like a week or two ahead of time. So the likelihood of them recording a podcast to talk about this between Monday and tomorrow is very unlikely. So I'm hoping they address this, like the main team and the main, like the heads of the channel address this soon. But if they don't address it soon, it's just going to be straight up, I'm done. I'm done. I can't do it anymore. And like, look, I'm not going to be one of those. I'm not sitting here looking for an apology. I don't want them to sit here and be like, well, we're sorry we did it, but it's just, but like, I want them to acknowledge, like, look, yes, some of these images were AI generated, reasoning for XYZ. However, we're going to stop. Or if they respond, here's the reasoning, and we're going to continue to do it, then it's like, all right, well, now I know your stance, even though a year ago you said you were 100% against it. If that's your stance, then I'm 100% against you.
Yeah, which, I mean, seems fair.
Yeah. It just, like, there was one of my examples is like, could you imagine if somebody trained their AI model off of this channel and then told AI to make videos like this channel and stole all of their content and all of their likenesses? How would they feel about this? Because that's what they're doing when it comes to art. And people were turning around like, oh, you're stealing someone's likeness. That's illegal. No, this is a work of art. All of this shit that they make is art. Videos are art. Like, that is not, that's not illegal. It's not illegal to steal their character within their art form. It's not illegal at all. Just as much as it's AI art is not illegal because it's trained off of millions of other people's arts.
Yeah, I agree. Like,
yeah.
How about the agenda?
Oh, Cobb, you've been playing old Final Fantasies again, apparently.
Yeah.
But barely can finish a modern game.
Modern games are boring. That's what I've come to the conclusion of.
Drew, you did I guess a drafting tournament for Magic this weekend? Or just some sort of draft system in Magic?
Yep.
And I've been playing some digital board games for my channel. We'll talk about some of them.
Nice.
Yeah, that's about it. Also, like, had a minor panic attack late last night, early this morning, trying to remember if this week was a book club week or not. And it's not, thank God. But I was like,
next week. Days of Thunder.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember.
Anyway, yeah, I played all of Final Fantasy 1 last week.
Nice. It's not that long of a game from what I remember.
It's really not. I also so I looked up online and found out that with the Pixel remasters, like so I want to talk about the Pixel remasters first. I did not really know this going in, and I don't think I really talked about it last week. Aside from them just like upgrading graphically how the games look, like they all look like a late 16-bit era game. Even the first three. They basically all look like Final Fantasy VI in a way.
Sure.
They also unified the menuing across all three of them, which I remember I did actually mention that a little bit last week. So I remember talking a little bit about the order option in Final Fantasy, I think. Maybe. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was telling Erica about that. So I'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, so they basically made all the menus the same across all three, including like the way you can sort your inventory, the way like the battle screens look. Like they're all identical. If you look up, though, Final Fantasy 1 on the Nintendo, drastically different. From what I was reading, actually, like menuing in Final Fantasy 1 was a chore. So not a bad thing that they updated it. But it is a little weird because they definitely modernized the game in a lot of ways too. But one thing I found, because I am not super concerned with the first three about like getting the grind experience. I found out that if you turn off encounters and set your XP gain to 2 times, you can basically just play the game that way as long as you do all of the optional fights, like all the monsters that pop out of chests and stuff, and never really fall like behind.
Interesting.
Yeah, like you're generally, as long as you're doing all the fights, and every once in a while like turning on like the random encounters just to like even things out a little bit isn't a terrible idea. But you can essentially like fly through the game that way and not deal with the constant random encounters, which the Pixel Remaster improved a lot of that. From what I was reading, the original game was like terrible. Like there were encounters that were almost impossible to get through because of the way enemy attacks worked back then and how they would hit you with status effects. And even playing the way I did, there were a few encounters where enemies hit you with status effects, and I could not figure out what cured those status effects because the game doesn't tell you what they are either. So it's like trying to figure out what the weird little icon means. And things like Asuna, or however you say it, like the spell that's supposed to just cure you, doesn't just cure some of these things.
Yeah.
So like it was a real pain in the ass in a few of those fights, and I can only imagine how frustrating it would have been to like have that just happening randomly. But yeah, like all of the boss fights were challenging. So like it's not like I was like over leveled and just like trouncing through everything. But I also beat the game in like 11 hours, I think, instead of like 20-ish is like the roundabout spot where that game usually sits from what I saw. So cut it almost in half, and that's with me like I literally went through every cave and dungeon and like opened up every single chest because that was how you kind of keep your level up, because so many of the chests, especially in late game, have monsters in them. You get a good item, but you also have to fight like a harder monster generally. I also found out, so I think Droo, you and I talked about it a little bit last week with Final Fantasy 1, where like in order to save, you had to go to like the inn. Like there was no like world map saving or anything like that.
Oh, no, honestly, I don't remember that, but sure, it sounds right.
So like the Pixel Remasters add that, so you actually get to save like in the world map. They also added Phoenix Down to the game. Final Fantasy 1 did not have Phoenix Down in the original game. If one of your characters died, you either had to have the life spell with a white mage, assuming you had a white mage, or every town had a special building in it that was either like a church or a shrine with like a dude sitting inside. And if you go up to him and one of your people are dead, they revived them. I think for a fee too. It wasn't just like, hey, yeah, they're back alive. Because going to an inn wouldn't revive dead people. Neither did tents. Like if a character was KO'd, you had to revive them and then go to an inn or use like a tent cottage sort of deal.
Okay.
So like that shit back in like 1987 would have been brutal in a game like this. The Pixel Remaster kind of like made that a little bit easier in a lot of way. Though I think I only used the Phoenix down like once, because by the time I was having like actual trouble with fights, the white mage I had did have life, so like I was always able to just resurrect like myself and then heal up. That game is just really weird. Like I've got to say, from how much have either of you, like Drew? I know you said you only played a very little bit at the beginning. Rich, you've never touched it at all, right?
Wait, which one?
The
Final
first
Fantasy one.
I beat Final Fantasy 1.
Oh, you did beat one. It was 2 that you only played a little bit of.
Yeah, 2 I only played a little bit because the leveling system I thought sucked shit.
But Rich, you've never played 1 at all, right?
No, I've never played either.
Okay, so the fact that Final Fantasy 1 has essentially a paragraph and a half of narrative, it's basically like the game starts. It gives you 4 characters, and there's not even canon names for them. You actually have to pick names for all 4 of them, and I think it's 1, 4, 5, 6 classes, I want to say, are what you have to pick from. It's warrior, white mage, black mage, red mage, fighter, and thief, or monk and thief, something like that, are like your 5 or 6 classes. And you can make your 4-person combination however you want out of those. Mm-hmm. I did warrior, fighter, or monk, I forget which one it was, black mage, white mage. The only one I changed from like the default is I changed the thief for the monk, because the monk just seemed more useful than a thief. And it ended up being more useful than a thief, at least for me. But then the game just kind of drops you in, and you get told to go find a prince or a princess. You find her. You fight the end game boss at the beginning of the game, Garland. You fight him. He's super easy. You beat him. He goes away. And then you just get told, like, hey, you're like probably these warriors of light. You all have these crystals. Maybe go figure out the crystals. And that's it. Like that's like kind of the extent of the narrative. You're just left to figure it out from there. And go fight 4 fiends to unlock the 4 crystals. If you go to like every town and talk to every person, you get a little bit more exposition, but like it's still not much, because in some towns, every single resident says the exact same thing to you. And then finally, when you get to the end of the game is just go back 2,000 years and fight Garland again, only this time he turns into a monster. And it turns out he always knew this was going to happen. He just keeps resetting the timeline. Only this time you actually defeat him for real, apparently. And the realm is saved. But it is wild how little story this game has. But you guys remember that Stranger Paradise game from a couple years ago?
Vaguely. I mean, I know it exists.
Yeah,
I played the demo.
yeah, I think we all at least played the demo. It was like a Souls-like that was
right.
Yeah, it's called Final Fantasy Origin. So I didn't know at the time, but the character you play as is Garland. Mm-hmm. His name is like Ryan Garland or something fucking stupid like that. And the game is basically like, it's from what I was reading like on Wiki and stuff, it's supposed to be like an alternate telling of like what led up to Final Fantasy 1. But it's basically a setup where there is a group of people in Final Fantasy 1 that you find late in the game who basically for thousands of years they tried to balance darkness and light, or chaos and light, or whatever they call it. And Garland was like one of their like champions that they sent out to try and do this. But part of what they were doing was essentially like destroying other kingdoms who they decided were too chaotic. And in the course of the game, like he doesn't want to do that anymore, and he has 4 companions with him. And by the end of the game, he essentially realizes that in order to save the world, he has to become like the world's greatest evil. And that leads directly into Final Fantasy 1, where he essentially like lets chaos take him over. And it also turns his 4 companions into the 4 elemental fiends that you have to fight to like free the crystals. And then he basically just waits for the 4 warriors of light to come actually defeat him. So like he set all of it in motion to actually like be the villain to save the world. And I think it's actually kind of cool that they took a almost 40-year-old game, and that had virtually no real story to it, and actually really fleshed out the narrative 35 years later, because I think that game came out like 5 years ago.
And that long,
It's 22. So
Okay. Yeah, 4.
Almost 5, yeah.
And honestly, looking at Metacritic, it's got mid 6s to low 7s. So not a bad game.
Yeah, I never heard a lot.
Game.
I never heard a lot about it. I think it was one of those games where like it came out, some people that like Souls games played it and then moved on. I'm actually almost curious to just like maybe go try and find like a compilation of like the cutscenes and all. Because there really are like a handful of like little bits of dialogue in Final Fantasy 1 that they seem to have taken and then like just turned into like the lore for the Stranger of Paradise. And I actually think that's really cool. Like, even though like that style of game is not for me, I think that's actually really cool that they kind of like went outside the box and did that for the original Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm playing Final Fantasy 2, and I'm actually almost done it. Droo, I know you said you didn't like the leveling system. I'm actually having a lot of fun with it.
I mean, I'm sure it's one of those things where it's like, if I had the time and patience to deal with it, it's not a bad thing. It just, at the time, I'm like, I don't want to fucking grind specifically. Oh, this character I want to be my spellcaster, I'm gonna have them do this the whole time. And it was like, yeah, never mind, fuck this, I'm not playing it.
Yeah, and what version? Like, were you playing like the old like PlayStation 1 version or like a ROM of it?
No, I was playing the GBA. They released 1 and 2 on a together.
Right. So I don't know what sort of like quality of life stuff they made on those. Hang on,
none, I don't think.
Probably not. Again, with the Pixel Remastered, like they did actually make a ton of just quality of life stuff. They made all the standard things like the graphical changes, the menuing, all that stuff. They also by default have a thing turned on where, so one of like I remember this even like from when we were younger. One of the things that people always talked about in that game was you had to get into fights and then attack yourself or like attack your party members to raise your health, because the only way to raise your health was to take damage. The Pixel Remaster by default has an option turned on that gets rid of that and makes your health increase as you win fights. So essentially like the same thing as like leveling up, because it uses some sort of metrics in the back end to determine like the challenge rating of a particular like enemy group. And if the enemy group is too low, you just don't get any credit for it. But if they're like within range or stronger than you get more credit for it, and then you'll see like your health and mana increasing more often, along with a few other like stats. And then like weapons are all broken out into individual skills. So you kind of have to. The game does not give you a lot of reason to change how people fight. If you give like the main guy a sword and a shield, and you use that for more than like an hour, there's not much reason to give him any other weapon, because you're basically starting that weapon over at level 1 and having to get it back up to whatever level you managed to get it to. And like for reference, I am, like I said, I'm late game. And I want to say my sword and shield skill with the main character is like right around level 9. So like they don't go up a ton, but on average enemies, I'm doing 600 to 800 damage in attack. If I were to switch that to another weapon, I'd probably be doing like 12 damage in attack. So like that, there's a big difference in that. And then like spell casting is the same way, Droo, like you were saying, like the more often you cast a spell, the more like points you get. And then every spell basically just has like a number of times you cast it before it goes up. The nice thing with the spells are like if you just look at your magic menu, it kind of has like a little bar showing like how close you are to like the next level. And white magic, especially things that you can use outside of battle, you can actually level up very quickly. Like I have a much higher heal or cure spell than I do pretty much anything else, because I use it outside of battle. Because something else weird in Final Fantasy 2, inns are not flat rate. So you know how like in every other Final Fantasy you go to an inn, and as the game progresses, the inns usually get more expensive, but they're never awful. Like you're never spending thousands of gil a night generally on most regular inns. In this, the inn charges you based on how much healing it has to do, both HP and mana. So if you go in with your whole party almost dead and depleted of mana, you're actually going to be paying thousands of gil. But if you like open up your magic menu and cast Cure on your whole party a few times, your Cure spell might level up, and then they only have to heal your MP, and that's generally much cheaper. So like, I want to say like my white mage or my magic user, because I have one character that's white and black magic. She's got like 800 MP right now. And at most when I go to heal, like I'm paying like 400 gil for like an inn to like just mostly just replenish her mana. I have my main character is kind of like my backup healer. He's basically like set up like a paladin. He's got like cure and protect and a few other like white magic spells. Because you just buy the spells. They sell tomes. You just buy the tomes and you can literally teach them to anybody. I think you have like 18 spell slots. So like you can only ever teach one character 18 spells. If you run out of slots, you have to forget something to like teach them something else. But realistically, like I filled up my like mages spell slots and I don't use half of them. I use like the 3 main elementals, which are all like level 8 or 9 now, cure, and then I actually have the warrior that's basically a paladin do like protect and shell, because it's just easier that way. But I'm actually enjoying kind of the way that whole thing works, because it's almost like a little more strategic in what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And this game actually has a story. Like right from the very beginning, there's actually like a pretty good story, and the game just fucking kills everybody. Every single character that does anything for this story that isn't just the main character, like the main 3, just seems to fucking die at some point. I think I've had like 7 different people die while like giving me their final like confession, essentially. Even Sid died. Like this is the first official game with Sid. They added a reference to a Sid in the first one, like after the fact, but the first real Sid is in Final Fantasy 2, and he fucking dies when he gives you the airship. He's like, I'm going to let you borrow my airship, but you're just borrowing it. And then he dies immediately after. It's like, Jesus, come on. Is anyone going to survive this war? But yeah, other than that, Final Fantasy 2 actually has a bunch of like the staples of the series. So like I said, it's the first game with Sid. It's the first game with Chocobos. It was apparently the first game with Phoenix Down. They, like I said, they added it to 1 with the Pixel Remaster, but it was actually the first one to have it for real. It's also the first one with the Ultima, like the spell Ultima. It's like it's actually part of the story. You have to go get it. And I'm sure there's some other stuff I'm forgetting, but it's actually kind of funny that Final Fantasy 2 is the one that kind of gets written off because it's so different with like how you progress the game. But it's the game that actually has all of the most common staples from the series. So that's been kind of fun to like see as I go. And anything else about 2? I really like 2. One other thing about 1 though, I forgot to mention. Magic, they essentially took like the D&D spell setup, which I thought was weird. Drew, do you remember that at all?
So I was actually reading through like the wiki on it. Apparently on the DS or the GBA version, they changed that.
Really?
And it had MP. Okay,
so in the original and the Pixel Remaster, your magic users. So you've got so like I said, I had my black mage and my white mage. There are like 8 or 9 magic levels, and each level you have 3 slots for 3 unique spells. And every town you go to essentially sells like 4 spells for that level that you're at currently. Because it kind of just like works like as you go. Like each town you reach is like the next town, so it has the next level of magic. And each level of magic you can only cast a certain number of times. Like there's no MP or anything like that. When you start like level 1, you can cast like each spell like 3 times. Or you can cast 3 level 1 spells. And then like as you level up, you get more times to cast them, and it's kind of like a staggered, like your level 1 spells you can cast the most, your level 8 spells you can cast the least. But once you hit a high enough level, you've got a pretty good like run of stuff, because they do at least split some of the what we would consider now as being like the same level spell. They actually split across different levels. So like I want to say like Fyaga and Blizzaga, like the third stages of Fire and Blizzard are like, let's say level 7 spells, but Thundaga is a level 8. Huh. So like if I use all the fire and the enemy isn't resistant to thunder, I can at least still use thunder, since using all the fire means I also lost the ability to use the blizzard.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah. And then, like, there's a couple other things like that too that are just kind of like staggered in a way that you're like, oh, that's weird, but okay. I also do either of you guys remember, is there a spell later on, like a white mage spell called Dia, that just deals damage to undead?
I only remember that being in that might be in a Final Fantasy 11.
I mean, that wouldn't surprise me if it was 11, because 11 is kind of like...
But I think that's the only other one I remember it in.
Okay, yeah, because that's the only other one I can think of too, and I'm like, that was actually a pretty cool spell and was super useful. Like, you fight a vampire in Final Fantasy 1. That spell was great to actually have my white mage doing something other than healing, because like the vampire wasn't terribly like damage dealing, but it had a lot of health, and my physical attacks weren't doing a ton against it. So having an attack that was specifically to like hurt them was like super useful. It's also, so every one of those classes you can elevate them at a certain point of the game. You go find Bahamut, I think it was. And Bahamut's like, okay, cool. Like you proved yourself. You have to do a tower thing to get an item. It's like, you proved yourself by this tower. I will promote all of your classes. And he promotes the warrior to like a knight, let's say. And the knight suddenly gets the ability to learn white mage spells. I never actually had the ability to cast them though. Like he never got, and maybe I just never got him at a high enough level. But like I taught him Cure, and he was never able to cast Cure because I never had a like actual spell like charge to use it. And I'm like, but why? Why do this? I had fun with. I'm having fun with them though. I remember playing. So I'm going to go to 3 next. And I'll probably do the same thing as 1 and just kind of like set it to 2 times, turn off random encounters, and just kind of get through it. Because I remember I tried playing 3 on the DS. I think I still have 3 on the DS, and just something about it didn't click with me. Like I played for like 2 or 3 hours and just wasn't interested in it, and just like bounced off of it. But if I can like sort of powered through the opening of the game that way, like it might click a little bit more. And then I want to play 5 because 5 has all the job classes, and I'm curious to see how that goes.
Yeah, one of these days I need to pick up just that Pixel Remaster collection.
Yeah, that's what I got, and like they are really well done. Like I'm a little bummed that they're all like visually the same, because there are like some dumb things like in Final Fantasy 1, the order doesn't really matter. Because your speed dictates how quickly each person attacks, regardless of the order that they're in. So all the order does is lets you like just determine what they're going to do first. But like if your 4th character is faster than your 2nd character, they're going to attack first. Especially if like your 2nd character is a mage who has like a casting time. But that menu option is there because from Final Fantasy 2 on, you have the like the back and front option, where you can put like your casters in the back row because they're not doing physical damage, so that they take less physical damage. That doesn't exist in 1. Like everyone's just on the same row all the time. So that like you have the ability to rearrange your characters, and it serves no purpose. It's dumb. But the visual stuff is cool because like they added like there's one point in 1 where you go like you're helping the dwarves, and you get basically like dynamite so that they can like open a canal up, and like there's like a little like cool 16-bit cutscene when it blows the canal up, and you get to like see like the waves like do stuff and like split apart as like the landmass like crumbles into the ocean. And in Final Fantasy 2 there's a whirlpool opens and like sucks your ship down, and later on there is a cyclone that you have to ride a wyvern to get into, and they do like that like 2D 3D like thing where they like reorient the camera so that it looks like it's a 3D plane instead of a 2D plane, and like stuff like that was really cool. That definitely wouldn't have happened in the original NES versions.
Yeah,
but that's my Final Fantasy info for the day. Drew, I don't know what a drafting Magic the Gathering is.
Okay, so how it works, you can either do it with 4 or 8 people. We had 8 people. Normally, this is a thing you would do with one set, like all the same packs of cards. We did a thing. This was a belated thing for my brother's birthday, where he had everyone who was coming send their like top 3 picks of what sets we would want packs from, and then he went and picked 24 different packs for us to open from. And so what you do, everyone opens a pack, you select one card, and then for the first pack you pass to the left and it goes around until everyone has all the cards from all the packs are gone. Then open the second pack, take your card, pass to the right, go around till all the cards are done, and then third pack, take card, pass to the left. You then build a 40 or more card deck from the cards you drafted, and then usually you'll be doing this at like a game store or with a group of friends, and you'll just have the lands for everyone to be like, okay, I'm playing a green and white deck, I need green and white lands for my deck. Unless you drafted some of them, and then you don't need as many from the just random pool. But yeah, you just make this deck from cards that you just randomly got. And then we played a little tournament. The one person that went 3-0 won a special card my brother bought to be the prize. And yeah, so it's like a way to open a bunch of packs, get cards from them, and then take some cards home, and you have new cards, and you got to play some games real quick.
So you keep the deck that you basically build from. Okay.
Yeah, and you'll have more cards than the 40 card limit. So at a certain point, like you're getting cards that it's like, oh well, I've been drafting, like did green and white, were wound up the 2 colors I was in, because it seemed like nobody else was taking green, and then at a certain point I was like, fuck, I need something else. And so there would become points where it was like, there are no green or white cards in what I have, or you might only have one card that came to you at the end, so you don't have a choice to take a card that's not in your color, but you're going to have more than 40 cards anyway, and ideally in any trading card game thing, you're using the minimum card amount of cards in a deck anyway, so you can get to the cards you want to play. But I could have used, I definitely had more green and white cards than 40, or including lands, that I could have built a bigger deck. But like I said, you then wind up, I might not get to the cards I actually need to play to eventually win. So, you build the deck. If you have cards you could put in the deck, you can have a sideboard, and between games, swap out some cards or just add them in if you want to go over the 40 card minimum. At a certain point, at the very end, I realized a card I had in my deck didn't do a thing that I thought it did, and I was like, shit, I should have taken this out of my deck. But somehow, in only a 40 card deck, I didn't see it till the 5th game I played or whatever. So I was like, oh wow. Well, cool.
So I don't know anything about Magic the Gathering. Okay. Can you actually just build a deck out of like cards that you pull, or do you need so the only trading card game I ever really played, I played a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! And don't remember that. So you need so that was the other one, is like Pokemon. Do you need like energy and stuff like that for it?
Yeah, that's what the lands
so that's
are.
what the lands are.
Okay.
But unlike in Pokemon, where you had to like attach them to the specific Pokemon, you don't in Magic. Did you ever play like Hearthstone?
No, I tried it once and I couldn't get into it.
So in Magic, like you'll have your lands in your deck. Cards will cost a certain amount of mana, which the lands generate. Sometimes most cards will be like a color and a number of whatever. So say it's like 3 and a green. You can use any color lands to pay for the 3, but then you would need a green land to pay for the green in the mana cost. Or if it's just the number, you can use any whatever color lands to pay for it. But so that'll be a spot where it's like, okay, I'm playing green and white. I might have cards that have like one white and green. So you need to have 3 lands. One needs to be white, one needs to be green. The third one can be white or green. Or there are colorless lands or things that just generate a colorless in mana. And yeah, so in the draft setup, they tell you to have like 17 lands out of your 40 cards, and then the rest be creatures and spells.
Okay.
Yeah. And so me and my brother got into it, and Eric got into it last year when the Final Fantasy set came out. Mostly what I've played until that was what they call Commander, where you build a 100 card deck. You have one card that you basically put to the side that is it has to be a legendary creature type card, and that is your commander, which you can cast whenever you have enough mana for it, and then it doesn't like go to your discard when it dies. It goes back to the command zone. It just then costs a little more to cast it again if you want to. And that commander card decides essentially what colors you are allowed to use in your deck. So if your commander only is green, your whole deck has to be only green cards or colorless.
Okay. I remember watching a video. I think it was about Magic the Gathering, where like some kid won like a major tournament making like a trap deck like that just broke the existing like standard that everyone else was using.
I believe it. Yeah, because like there are so many fucking cards. And in the Commander format, with the exception of cards that explicitly say you can have any number of cards named whatever, you can only have one card aside from basic lands of anything with a specific name. So, like, there are multiple Wolverine cards, but they're like Wolverine, comma, some other set of words. You could have the 2 different Wolverines with the 2 different like additional bits of name because they are differently named, even though they are both still Wolverine. But you couldn't have 2 of either one.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. But it's also it's then interesting where it's like, oh, I have Black Panther and Black Panther.
Yeah,
because they're like
whatever
slightly differently named.
So for the uninitiated, the general idea of Magic the Gathering is you are a wizard summoning these creatures from parallel universes and alternate universes. So the reason why you can have 2 different Wolverines is because you're calling each of the Wolverines from the different universes within Marvel itself as well. So that's why you can have like 2 different named Black Panthers or whatever, but you can't have the same because you can't summon the same person twice.
Yeah, at least in like the singleton formats, like Command. There's other formats where it's like I think 4 is the limit per a specific card, which I think is the same as Pokemon was.
Yeah, something like that. I think most card games have a limit of like 3 or 4 for a specific card.
But yeah, the draft was interesting because normally when you're drafting from a set, the things are like cohesive and actually work together. The way we did it with all these random packs, it's like, okay, I have a bunch of green cards, but they all have these different abilities that were kind of only in the one set or only in certain sets, and it's like, this ability doesn't really work with the other ones, but fuck it, whatever, who cares? It doesn't really matter.
Oh, yeah, all of this is new to me. I know I legitimately knew nothing about it.
Honestly, I have had way more fun with Magic the Gathering over the last year than I ever expected to have. Though, some of the people we play with, it's clear, like, there's me, my brother, and this one guy, although my brother has definitely leaned more into the power creep and metaing of decks than I have. It's one friend, Rob. Me and him are very much like, we got a bunch of these cards, and I don't know, maybe it works. They sound like they would work together and do something cool if everything works, right? Let's play them. Then there's a handful of guys that it's like, you've been playing forever. You have these incredibly meta built decks that it's like, this game is over on turn.
So I was actually looking. The story I was thinking of with the kid winning was actually, it was Yu-Gi-Oh, not Magic the Gathering.
Okay.
He won a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament in 2012, basically walking in off the street with just like a deck he had put together mostly from like booster packs and a few cards he was able to buy like individually. But the deck was set up basically like against what like the tournament standard was at the time, and like he didn't know it when he started, but like it actually was just incredibly strong against how all the tournament players played. So he won like the major US tournament, not realizing like his deck was actually set up exactly how it needed to be to counter how everyone was running their decks at the tournament. Because like I assume Magic the Gathering similar, like at a tournament level, everyone's deck is pretty much the same. It just comes down to like who draws what cards first.
Probably, yeah, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it's like competitive like Pokemon stuff. Like everyone's just using the same 6 Pokemon. It's just who gets the lucky RNG first.
Right. Meanwhile, literally, like, so I've built, I think it's 14 commander decks at this point. So that's 1,400 cards.
Wow.
I mean, almost a third of each deck. Actually, I guess over a third of each deck are lands. So it's not that many different cards, but still close to 1,000 different cards and decks that are basically all. I bought a pack. Well, there's a handful. They sell pre-constructed commander decks, and some of those are really good. Like one of my favorite decks is a squirrel themed deck, and that's basically just the pre-con. I've swapped out a handful of cards in there for cards I got in packs to synergize better with squirrels, but most of that's just the pre-con. I think I have like 4 pre-con decks, and then like I said, 8 or 9 decks I've built of, oh, I opened a pack. Here's a card that sounds really cool. What random other cards do I have that would work with this? And then, okay, here's like 4 cards that would really make this deck really work that cost like $7 a card at most or whatever. Like, I don't know that I've spent more than $10 on a card. Whereas, like, there are cards out there. There was a card in the Spider-Man packs that actually is now up to $120 that I pulled 2 of in, like, 4 packs I ever bought of Spider-Man.
Nice.
So I'm, like, half tempted to go sell the other one now. Because, like, I sold one of them because I'm like, I only need the one. Because if I really want to move it to a different deck, I could just take it out of the one, put it in the other for a little bit.
Out of curiosity, like, when you sold it, how much was it selling for?
Like 60.
Oh wow! So it's like doubled since you sold it.
Yeah, so because a new Marvel set came out. It was the Soul Stone, and a new Marvel set came out with more of the Infinity Stones and whatever. So it bumped up the value.
Oh, okay. It's silly how that stuff happens.
Right?
Like, it really is.
Well, like, oh, new set came out. Oh, look, this old card works in some way with these new things. Price jacks up 100 times.
Yeah, like I probably have a couple comics that like I literally just bought off the shelf, didn't expect anything of them, that are probably worth like a few hundred to even like 1,000 or 2. Just for no other reason than like something happened in it that ended up like becoming popular. Like I have what is the first appearance of Spider-Gwen, which was like in an anthology book during like an event, which they're usually kind of just throwaways. Like very rarely does anything like spin out of them, but like she ended up going on to become a very popular character. So I think that book at one point was worth like $1,500 or something like that if it was in like perfect condition.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
I've gotten lucky to pull like a card that I'm using as a commander in one of my decks. I pulled in a pack. It's currently selling for like $40. So it's like, oh, cool. That if I turned around and sold it, it would have paid for like 8 of the packs that of the set that I bought it from. Got it.
Yeah. Are there like, so I know Magic has done stuff where like older cards are no longer like viable for like actual play. And those seem to be the ones that I always hear people talk about as being like valuable. Are like modern cards just not really at the same like value?
For the most
that make
part,
sense?
Yes. No, what you said makes sense. For the most part, you're right. Yeah, like the modern cards aren't worth as much. Although there are some, like there is a incredibly rare version of that Soul Stone card that is worth like $4,000.
Yeah, I think the idea of whether or not the modern cards are worth as much has more to do with the amount of not mass mass production. Yeah, mass production that
Right.
a lot of these cards have. Like the reason the
Oh, yeah.
One Ring is worth as much as it is because it's the One Ring, and there's only one of that kind that what's his name has. That's the only reason it's worth that much. And it's the same with like there's a bunch of the Soulstone cards that are worth the amount that Droo had, and then there's like a handful of the ones that are worth the big amount. And that's how Magic does it. That's one good thing they do is that they release like the fanciest version of the hard to get card and then the less hard to get version of the hard to get card. But it's still hard to get.
So actually, there are I guess there's 4 versions of the Soulstone card. There's the one I got that, is selling for like $95 right now. Then there's that exact same art, but it's foil instead of just being standard cardboard. That's selling for like $200. Then there's a totally different art with like Thanos on it. That's selling for like $2,000. And then there's a 4th one, which God knows there has to only be a handful of printings of it, that is selling for $48,000 right now.
Yeah. So like
Wow.
when it comes to Magic, they do that better than say how Pokemon does it, where there's only 100 Charizards or whatever of whatever set. Magic, it's like we know people are going to use this card, and if they have the expensive version, they're not going to use it. So let's make the usable version and the unusable version, but put them in the sets all together. But then also there's a lot of like I have friends who play Magic that use proxy decks as well and proxy cards.
That's also a big
so
one.
like, which is a crazy concept to me. Which basically means, Cobb, you may not have the card, but you're allowed to put the deck together as long as the card is a legitimate card that exists within Magic the Gathering.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
It's only legal in like playing with friends or whatever.
Some tournaments allow it, but it's not like major official tournaments.
Yeah, I'm sure you could find local places that are like, yeah, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
Make the copy of it. Well, because like a lot of, especially, there are a lot of old land cards that are stupid expensive because they've changed how. So most lands have just one color. Some have 2, or some even have 3 or 4 colors that it can generate the mana for. The original dual color lands, when you would play them, you could use their mana on the turn you put it out. Basically, ever since then, they're like, no, if it's got 2 colors, it comes in tapped unless you pay for it in some way, either spending life or showing that you have one of the types of lands that it would make in your hand still or already on the board. But like these original dual color lands are like stupid expensive because they do something modern ones don't do, and they don't print them anymore. So they're like $20,000 a card or whatever, or it's like at least $1,000 a card.
That is insane.
Yep.
Wow. Man, how did you? So it was the Final Fantasy thing that got you into Magic, or had you gotten into it before?
No, it was the Final Fantasy that like made me get actually into it.
Okay. That's fair.
Like I'd always been like vaguely interested. I think there was a little bit in high school where I bought some cards, but then bounced off it real fast. But then last
You can't afford
summer,
it in high school.
last summer the Final Fantasy set came out. My brother was like, "Do you want to learn this?" Because he was also like vaguely interested. He had some friends that were already playing. Like I said, the one dude Rob that he's co-workers with, I guess, probably had been hammering on him for a while. So we got into it, and then I have too many cards now.
I was gonna say, and now you have over 1,000 cards.
Oh yeah. Again, that's 1,000 cards that are in decks. I have 5 boxes in front of me that have probably 3 times the amount of cards. Although, because some of that is Top Deck Games up in Cherry Hill now. I think it was like $20 or whatever. Some not very expensive amount of money was like, here's a box. It's like 1,000 cards. There's a guaranteed, what is it? Yeah, it's 1,000 cards. You're guaranteed at least 30 rare or mythic rares and 20 foils. And it's like, then 970 commons, uncommons, and lands, basically. But I've bought like 2 of those. So, and like I said, I think at most they're $40 for that box. And it's like, okay, cool. Here's just a way to have a shitload of cards that I can go through and look at and see what they do. And sure, there's like 7 copies of the same card or whatever in there sometimes, but it is what it is. Like, you're buying a bulk thing.
It's like buying the cup of dice, basically.
Yeah, like you're buying it to hopefully find like those rares or mythics that will do something cool, and then hey, here's some random cool commons and uncommons that did something cool that you can throw in a deck because you need those.
Who would have thought? Magic,
Yeah.
The Gathering, 2026.
Brother, it's fucking. I forget what we talked about it the other day. They've put out like 8 sets this year.
I see stuff pop up for it all the time. It's just I don't know anything about it, so it just kind of like I see it and it just goes away.
Yeah, they're
they put out a
putting
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle set, Cobb.
I mean that's awesome. I've always had trouble getting into like TCGs.
Yeah,
like because like I don't enjoy collecting things like that for no reason. And the rules to the games always just seem a little too obtuse for me. At least the little bit I've ever looked into them.
For sure.
I almost made a joke there that I don't want to make, but
That's
I kind of
fine.
want to make it.
Go for it.
You said I don't like collecting things like that. My immediate thought was, well, at least I know that you're not autistic then. That is look at my Funko Pops. The collecting things is a sign of autism. So that's just
yeah. So here's the thing. I don't think I am.
No.
But like I have collectibles, but like they're generally things that like either I have used or could use in other ways. Like comics, they're a thing I read.
You don't have 100 Funko Pops. You don't have. Like I did get back into collecting Pokemon cards for a while. Like
yeah, exactly. Like I don't collect cards because like I know while I think like some of the cards look cool, there's nothing I can do with them. Like I'm not going to play the Pokemon TCG, and I'm not just going to put them all in a binder and put them on a shelf. So like I just don't. Yeah. But like if I see like a cool comic book or like a book or a game, that's different. Like that's a thing that like, yeah, maybe I don't read it right now, but like I could, Anything else though, Drew, about Magic?
No, I don't think so. I think that's it.
I was going to say I don't get into TCGs because I don't get the cards. Like, and not saying like I don't have the money for the cards. I literally have never drawn a good fucking card in my life.
Like from like a random like booster pack?
From any of the times that I were into like Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, like Pokemon cards again, like I just don't have the luck of getting those cards. I just don't.
Have you tried to get good?
There's no sense of trying to get good if you can't get the good cards because it's random. Like I could just never get those cards. I could just never get those rare cards, those good cards. And also like I always got outshined by say Eric or Shahid or other people with the amount of cards they could buy and the lack of cards that I could buy. That where it's just like, all right, well, it's not even worth getting into. Like, I can't afford to buy cards as often as my brother does, for crying out loud. He gets so many cards, man. He has so many packs to still open. To open still. Like, he doesn't even have all his packs opened.
That's weird.
He's fallen hard into it, but it's something that he enjoys, so...
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not judging him for doing it. I just think it's weird to buy them and not open them.
Well, it's because he just hasn't had the time to open them. He hasn't been able to get around to opening them. Like he'll buy packs and then he'll have to work out across the country for 2 weeks or this or that or whatever. So I
forgot he travels a bunch for work.
Yeah, like it's that or like vacations and stuff with his family. Like summer is very busy for him because like he takes off on Fridays. and takes care of the kids. And once the kids are back in school, then he can maybe have those Fridays to himself and stuff. And it's just, yeah, it's just easier.
It's fair. But Rich, would you like to tell us about board games in the digital realm?
Yeah. So, as I say in my channel, what is my tagline for Board Solo? I gotta pull it back up again. Because I should have thought about this before I started this whole thing. But as I say on my channel in the description of my board solo and board virtual video games, solo board gaming can be tough, but at least there's virtual board games. Or planning a board game can be tough, but at least there's solo board games. I've been doing a lot of virtual board gaming lately to fill time for my channels. I played 3 different games over the last 3 weeks. It was Terraforming Mars, Carcassonne, and what was the Pandemic. I've also in the past played Ticket to Ride as well. And yeah, if you've never played any of these 4 games, there 3 of the 4 are classics, are great games that I'm pretty sure everyone has either played or seen, and that'd be Ticket to Ride, Carcassonne, and Pandemic. Like, those are incredible games, some of my favorites. Pandemic being my number 1 favorite. I absolutely love that game. I could play it all the time. But it's digital versions of the actual board game, streamlines it a bit so that you don't have to worry about like the scoring and stuff like that. The game will score for you. And yeah, it's like I love Pandemic. Me and Cobb talked a lot about Pandemic when we were doing Legacy, and it's just regular Pandemic. But it can be tough. Like, I will set it up to be 3. Generally, I'll set it up to be 4 players, but I'm playing as all 4 players, so I have to do the strategy for each player. And the one time I played it, I lost. The other time I played it, I won, which was nice. Then Carcassonne. If you guys don't know, have either of you ever heard of Carcassonne?
I've heard of it. I know nothing about what it is, though.
Same.
So it's a tile placement set collection game in a sense, with meeples. And basically what happens is you get a tile and you have to connect that tile to the tiles on the board in one way, shape, or form. So your tile may have grasslands, a road, a city, or a chapel on it. And depending on what's on the board, you can either connect any grasslands to the grasslands, city pieces to city pieces, road pieces to the road pieces. And if there's a chapel, it's going to be surrounded by grass, so you connect that to any other grassland. And based on where you place things, you then, on your turn, you get to place one of your meeples. So, for instance, if you're placing a road piece, you can either place your meeple on the road or on the grass that's surrounding the road. If you place it on the grass, then the point of that is to hope that there are cities, a bunch of cities within that grass area. And you get points for all the grass tiles touching the cities within that grass area. If you place it on the road, you get points for every road piece connecting from one town to another. If you place it within the city, you get points based on how many city tiles there are. And if you place it on the chapel, if you can fill in all 8, like, so make it a 3x3 and just fill in the surrounding 8 tiles, you get points for that. Otherwise, the points differentiates a little bit more. Yeah, it's just very quick and easy. It's a simple game. Strategy is a bit there. It's a little strategic because you only have a limited number of meeples. And so when you place your meeple on a road, it stays there until the road is connected. If the road never gets connected, it stays there. But once it gets connected, you can pull it out and place it somewhere else. If you place your meeple on like a grassy area, it stays there the whole game. It never comes up. So like, that's something you're going to want to think about if you're going to be placing your meeple on a grassland early on. Same like the chapel, I believe it stays on the chapel it probably stays on the chapel the whole time. No, it'll probably come off if you fill in all the square. And then the city again, if you're able to close off the city, your meeple comes off But if the city stays open, your meeple stays there. So at the end of the game, you get half the amount of points you would normally get for each tile that's incomplete. So like say you would get 2 points per tile for a completed road, you only get 1 point per tile instead. And same with the cities and stuff like that. It's just a classic game, very easy to play, very easy to teach. It's really good, and like the virtual version is really cool because like you are just placing the tiles. It's just tile placement. Like it's not like it's like becoming like a procedurally generated world map. It's just that you're placing the tiles. You're on a table placing the tiles in this version. It's really cool. And like the cool part about it is as you play through it, sometimes there will eventually be placements that are impossible to make after certain cards have already been played. The game will eventually tell you if you're placing something somewhere, whether or not you can place another card beyond that. So if you're trying to complete a road or a section somewhere and you have a tile and you're trying to figure out where to place it, if you're trying to place it at a certain point, it'll mark other areas that you can't place that's been done and you can't place it there. I ran into a little bit of an issue because I wasn't able to finish a road, which also would have connected to one of my chapels. So I ended up losing a lot of points because the road and the chapel were incomplete, and I never got... I think it was a road, a chapel, and a city all connected to my stuff were not able to be completed because I placed the wrong piece and wasn't able to connect everything with a final piece because it was so late in the game that piece just never came up. So I like that like the game actually shows you like, oh, this is like impossible to fill now. Don't be looking for this. Like you're not going to be able to fill it. That was a really cool feature that the game had to it. But yeah, it's just a really quick, easy to teach, easy to play, score competitive game. And then Ticket to Ride. Drew, I'm sure you've played Ticket to Ride, right?
I actually only recently played this for the first time on a digital version.
Oh, wow. What about you, Kyle?
No, I've actually never played it. I know what it is, but I've never played it.
Wow, I'm surprised. I'm less surprised.
Times.
I'm less surprised on you, Cobb, but I'm more surprised on Drew. That like he's never played it before because that game is also a classic.
I think that's the thing. Like, there are a lot of like classic board games I've never played. Like there's like the classic ones like your Monopolies, your Sorries, shit like that. That like everyone played them as kids, but like those slightly more like complex ones, your Carcassonnes, your what's that other one?
Catan.
Catan. I've never played Catan. I never played Ticket to Ride.
Catan
like a lot of those. Like I've just
Catan doesn't suck. You just don't like it.
No, it's just Monopoly.
No,
isn't it Risk?
No, it's neither of them.
It's fucking roll dice. Shit happens.
That's every board game. Then, if you're gonna minimize it that much, that's literally every board game. Is roll dice shit happens.
Catan is incredibly overrated.
I actually want to try Catan at some point, just because it is one of those games where it's like you go to PAX, there are literally towers of it.
Yeah, like Catan it's a classic. It's a fun game. It is a competitive civilization building game with resource gathering and trading and stuff like that. I agree it's not for everyone. Like it has its I enjoy the game. However, like it has to be with the right group of people. And one thing that really sucks about a game like Catan is if you have a group of people who pick on someone specifically to when it comes to like the robber. So basically in Catan you roll 2 die and you can roll anywhere between a 2 and a 12. Depending on what you roll determines the resources that get gathered. If you roll a 7, that activates the robber. So what happens is you move the robber to any piece on the board, and you then get to steal a card from someone whose civilization is connected to that card or to that panel, and then they no longer get to collect from that panel until the robber is moved again. So I've played with people who are like, all right, well, we're always going to play it on so and so, and it's like that's fucked. Like, play it on the person who's in first. Play it on the person who's doing better. Don't just play it on one person just because. But then there's different sorts of ways to trade. There's general trading. There's if you make some different if you make civilizations on ports, you can maybe trade basically the way the game goes is you can do generally a 4-to-1 trade for any resource. So if you have 4 logs, you can trade 4 logs for 1 sheep or 1 ore or 1 brick or something like that. However, if you have certain port cities, if you're able to attach to a port, you could potentially do a 3-to-1, or even on certain ports, it's a 2 specific to 1. So it would be like a 2 wood for stone or something. I don't remember if the 1 is also specific or if it's 2 trade 2 of a specific for 1 of any. I don't remember. It's been a while since I played Catan. And then you just compete to have the longest road, and you just try to get 10 victory points. There's another bonus card, longest road and something else, and I can't remember what this something else is. But you just
army or something.
There's no army.
Something about there are army cards.
Oh yeah, there are army cards, and they're just like general victory point cards or something.
Yeah,
they like
or
something like that. I don't remember, but like there's 2 bonuses. I don't remember what they are. The army really just comes into play with getting that score, I think is all it is. The army does nothing else besides getting that card. And first person to 10 victory points wins. And it's that simple. I think Matt's actually bringing it on the 29th.
Yeah, I think he said he was.
Yeah. But yeah, Catan's a classic. I agree it might not be for everyone. But I enjoy it.
It's fine. The thing I hate about Catan are the people who go like, "Oh, you play Monopoly? Catan is so much better." And it's like, brother, I've played it. It's really not that different than fucking Monopoly. Shit happens to everyone every time dice are rolled. That's the one difference, kind of. Whereas Ticket to Ride was fucking awesome. Let's talk about a good game.
Ticket to Ride is incredible. I love Ticket to Ride. I disagree on the fact that Monopoly and Catan are the same game. I disagree on that.
I'm not saying they're the same. I'm saying they are more similar than people who think Catan is the greatest thing to fucking ever happen.
I think
to say that Catan is.
I think the problem isn't that you don't like Catan. The problem is, and you already said it, it's overhyped. Because of Big Bang Theory and other nerddoms, it has grown in popularity so much that everyone knows it. Even non-nerds.
Also, just legitimately, in my mind, from the times I've played Catan, I don't think it's mechanically that good. Like, the game can be lost literally at the very beginning. Like, you can just be fucked from the start of the game, and it's like, why the fuck am I even playing?
I mean, that is on the player, not on the game's fault. That is on the player's decision of where they place their starting cities. So the way the game works, Cobb, is at the beginning of the game, the tiles gets laid out randomly, and then you flip them, and then you place the tokens that determine the rewards for the dice rolls in a circle, starting from one point and going around into the middle. And then it becomes a snake draft. First player places one city all the way to the fourth player, and then the fourth player places their second city all the way back to the first. So if you place your city in a bad spot, that's on you. But the limitations of placing cities are like they can't be within 2 spaces of another player's city initially and stuff like that. So there's a lot of strategy. There's a bit of strategy to think about it, but it's very much if you had bad placement at the beginning of the game, really the only person you can be mad at is yourself, unfortunately.
Or you, right?
Or the person who fucked you out of being able to put a thing anywhere that was worthwhile. Or just, 9s never fucking roll in the whole game or whatever.
Well, and again, that's like the game. Well, I mean, that's luck right there. That's the luck, right. And that's part of like pretty much any board game.
But again, but that's the thing people would say about Catan. It's like, oh, it's all skill. No, it's fucking like 90% luck.
I mean, that's also any board game.
You're right, and I'm not disagreeing. But the people, like I said, the people who would put Catan on a fucking pedestal try to say that's not the fucking case. And I'm like, no, it's fucking dice rolls.
And again, I agree. The people who put Catan on a pedestal are the ones who don't play other board games besides Catan and old school Hasbro games. I don't know anybody who puts Catan on a pedestal as people who don't play anything other than Catan. So once those people learn to play a new game, they'll understand, like, oh, this is good. Like, Catan's fine.
Is it, though?
It is. It's
or
fine.
Is it the best game ever?
It's an absolutely good average game. Like, it's enjoyable to play every once in a while. Like, it is very casual. It is a very casual game. Like, it's not super hardcore. There is a little bit of, like, strategy and deception that you can do within that. But like, you also got to be nice to each other, because sometimes you got to trade. And if you're playing against people who aren't willing to trade, then that also fucks it too. Like, it's about the people you play it with and how cool or shitty they want to be. Like,
Fair.
But the other game, let's see. So Ticket to Ride is a great game. Cobb, I highly suggest you play that someday.
No,
I don't own it. Otherwise,
no, Cobb, Ticket to Ride's good.
No, actually,
Ticket
like,
to Ride.
Ticket's one of those games where, like, I know I have a vague idea of it, and I've heard good things about it. It's just it's just never been around. I'm sure Matt probably owns it 3 different ways.
I'm sure he does. You could probably text him to bring it on the 29th, too. We could definitely do both Catan and Ticket to Ride in one night. So I'm not really going to get too into that, but Ticket to Ride's fun. Everyone should check it out. And then the last one was Terraforming Mars, which Terraforming Mars is probably like the most difficult game I've played in a while. The most like hardcore. It is a resource. It's an engine builder resource management game where you are working on terraforming Mars. So every round you generate a set of resources based on the cards you've played in the previous rounds, and you can then use some of your money resources and things like that to play certain cards, or use the other resources you've generated to do other things, like increase or like place a grasslands or forest tile, or increase the temperature of Mars, things like that, or like things that you might need to do to naturally like terraform a planet. And when I played it this time, it had been a while since I had played it. So my brother owned it. So pre-pandemic is when we last played it. So probably a good 10 years. And then he bought it for me on Steam because it is a harder, bigger game. He was like, maybe we can play it on Steam, and this way it'll be easier for us to play it. It tracks all the scoring and stuff. And so I'd played it a few times a while back when he bought it for me. And then it's just, I put it down and never touched it again. And I was like, let's play this again. It's been a while. And I forgot how some things worked. I played a little bit of the tutorial just to learn the basics and be like, all right, how does this game work again? And explain the rules. And it's very, once I learned how to play, it was very easy, simple, and straightforward. But it took me an hour and 10 minutes to get through the play session. And this is online against 3 computers and myself. It still took over an hour to play through, because the game continues until all 3 parameters are met to terraform Mars. And if the players aren't really able to like build up a portion of the terraforming, so like our issue was temperature, I believe. No, it was I think it was oxygen. Our issue was we didn't really have a lot of oxygen generation going. We didn't have a lot of greenery resources going across the 3 or 4 players that were in the game. One of us had all of the energy and heat production in the world. One of their bonus actions they could do every turn was to just generally increase their heat production and gain like X amount of heat per turn. So like even at the end, when there's no reason to increase heat production because it's already maxed, they were still playing this because it's the AI computer. And it's like, oh, this is a turn I can take. So they were just doing it. So yeah, it took a little bit longer for us to get the clear, but it's just a fun game. Like the rounds go where you have 2 turns, and then it goes to the next person. They have 2 turns or 2 actions, and it keeps going around. Everyone keeps getting 2 actions. Once you skip, both your actions. So you can take one and then skip, and then it can come back around to your turn. And if you can take another action, you can. However, if you skip then you don't go again until the next round, or after everyone has skipped. It's one of those like production games. It's a really good game, really cool. I don't think it's actually that much on Steam either. No, it might actually be. It's actually $20 on Steam.
I mean, that's a quarter of the price of the physical copy.
I was gonna say that's not bad compared to like physical costs.
True. But yeah, it's just a really cool game that like I enjoyed playing it. I would like to play it with people. I'm trying to be able to do like more online board game content, digital board game content in general, because I don't really get that many board game nights anymore. I was getting a lot in earlier this year, but then the one board game night just kind of stopped. So like,
I was just gonna say, always heard very good things about Terraforming Mars. I'm pretty sure my friend Kristen, her favorite game.
Yeah,
it was the number 9 rated game of all board games on Board Game Geek.
Doesn't surprise me.
I feel like it was at number 1
like,
for a while.
Copies of it too at PAX again.
Yeah.
It's like this is definitely a game. Like, I've already talked about how I am at PAX, and I don't like the idea of sitting there playing games at PAX. If I'm going to play games, I'd rather go home, because it's just it's very overwhelming for me, and to try to learn and figure out a game and think when there's so much going on around me. This for sure is a game that I cannot play at PAX. I cannot play this game because there is literally so for resource generation in general, there you get money, steel, titanium, plant life, energy, and heat. So there's 6 different resources. Plus then any of the cards that you've played that are action cards that you can do an action each round with. Plus then any of the cards that you have in your hand that you want to use, which you'd spend your credits to be able to play. And then you would then potentially have to increase or decrease your resource production of certain resources depending on the cards you have or the cards you play. There is a lot of like small things, and just a lot of small pieces in general that like a game like Terraforming Mars is definitely like that has to be like in an enclosed area in a dedicated game night that you're specifically there to play the game. Like you have to be playing. You have to play the game. Otherwise, it's going to take you like 6 hours. Because there's just like I said, I played against 3 computers and myself, and it took me an hour and 10 minutes.
Some games are just too long.
But it's like it's good though. It's fun, and it's like it's just there's some games that's just like all right, like minimal conversation, and you should just really be in the game to get through it kind of situation. But yeah, it's a really fun good game. Like I highly suggest it to check it out, to look into it at PAX or something like that. Yeah, trying to figure out if I'm gonna do another board game this week or not. I probably will because I don't have anything else prepared for this week. But I just don't know what board game yet. I'm running out of board games. Well, I was gonna do Mysterium. I have Mysterium on Steam. I installed it and I went to go play it and it wouldn't load. I also don't know if this is like a player to player only game or if you can do player to computer type thing. So I don't know if maybe there's just the servers are shut down and the game just doesn't load up anymore. But I tried doing Mysterium and it wasn't loading, which was a little frustrating, a little unfortunate. And I have been trying to do Malediction on Tabletop Simulator. But my buddy that I keep asking to play, he doesn't have the time. He hasn't been able to in a while, for a bit. So, I mean, if either of you want to play Malediction and be recorded for me on YouTube, I'll definitely have to figure out time for that.
I did that demo with you at PAX, and like I thought the game was fine, but like I did not enjoy it enough to want to play it again. I'm going to be honest.
Wow.
Wow. I mean, I would definitely give it another try. I don't know about this weekend or not, but yeah. Let me know.
I mean, it's on Tabletop Simulator, so as long as you have Tabletop Simulator, we can play it.
I do.
Yeah. I reached out to a bunch of people who had it, and I was like, "Hey, you want to play this with me?" And one person was like, "I don't even think I have Tabletop Sim." I'm like, "You do. That's why I asked you." It's like, "When did I get it?" I'm like, "Probably a Humble Bundle or something, dude. I don't know." The thing sells in 4-packs, so maybe a friend got drunk and bought it for you too. Who knows?
So I'm just curious because I've never actually looked at Tabletop Simulator.
Mhm.
Like, do you have to buy the individual games for it, or do they come as part of the base
Yes
game?
and no. Yes and no.
Sometimes is the answer.
So, like, the base game of Tabletop Simulator has games as DLC there's 43 different games as DLC that you can purchase. However, oh look, Widgets Workshop is even one of them. Remember that game that we played a few months ago with the robots, Cobb?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one. So there's about 43 that you can buy. However, if you just go to the workshop, the Steam Workshop, you can just download any fan-made version. So you just have to like look into whoever's making them because you're technically modding the game, and they could be modding it into a way to potentially jump into your system and whatnot. So you just have to like look into who you're downloading from and make sure that they have like a high credit or whatever. So I've played Betrayal at House on the Hill on here. You can get like D&D figures on here and stuff and do D&D, but there are a few generic basic games on there. There's a few that you can buy, and then for the most part it's about the community and the workshop.
Okay, well that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I just honestly wasn't sure because like I've never actually looked into it because why would I, right?
I don't know. I bet you have it.
I don't.
Are you sure?
99% sure.
No, you don't have it.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Like I said, there's some people that have it that don't even know that they have it. So, but no, you're not in any of the library section, and you haven't played it. So I'm not even going to look through the plethora of people who have played it section.
It's not even purchasable on Steam.
Tabletop Simulator?
Like I just searched it and it just came up with add to wish list.
$19.99.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I looked at Board Game Simulator, which is a different thing.
Yeah, no. Tabletop Simulator. No, Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah, see, so like legitimately, like I wouldn't spend $20 on it. I think is the thing.
The thing, like I got it on I think literally I know what happened. Shahid was drunk. We were trying to find something to play. They sell it in a 4-pack for $60. He bought it, gave me, Anthony himself, and Evan a copy. That's 100% what happened with mine, I think.
That makes sense.
So that's why I have it.
Nothing against it, but
I think there was even a different website at one point that had it on sale for like $10.
It's been on sale 50% off twice this year.
Yeah, so, it's always on. It's because it is like just a community driven game. There's not really a lot to it.
Yeah.
So
it's just like we talked before, like I don't play games with people, and like board games are historically games you play with people.
Yeah, but I mean, you could play it with me and Droo.
But see, like this is not like shot against you guys. No part of me wants to sit at my computer outside of work hours ever.
I mean, it's fair.
But we could be playing board games instead of not playing board games.
I would rather just not play board games than sit at my office computer.
Then get a laptop. You know what? The game it has VR capabilities. Set it up with VR, and then you don't have to sit. You don't have to sit at your computer. You could be standing in that room or somewhere else in general.
Steam Deck compatibility.
Actually, does it have Steam Deck?
It probably does.
I'm supported for Steam Deck.
Yeah, it's just because you won't be able to fucking read a single goddamn thing anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, there are probably some games that it's fine on, and others where like mouse and keyboard are required that like you really couldn't.
Oh yeah, no,
couldn't do it.
But see, and I mean this would make it a little bit more difficult in general, anyway. But like in Tabletop Simulator, you could just explain to whoever you're playing your game with, like, I want to move this piece here, and they can just move it for you. Like everyone has free access to touch every piece, just like a normal tabletop.
Oh, that's cool.
So games that have like cards that you have like a hidden hand of, it does like hide the hand
Yeah.
from anyone, and they
Okay.
can't like they could reach over and grab your cards and move them, but if they were to flip them, it would just show the back of the card the whole time.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, it is.
That's cool that they can interact with it without actually seeing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so people can't just cheat on it, but it's like, haha, I took your fucking card.
And then you can
I
flip
can't
the
see
table.
them. Yeah, you can flip the table.
Oh, can you really?
Yeah, you can flip the table, and it'll throw the pieces all over the place. There is a reset to rewind before flipping the table button, but yeah, you can just flip the table. Be like, I'm done
pretty
with
sure it's
this.
F.
That's fun.
Pretty sure you could just hit F on the keyboard and flip the table.
Yeah,
Nice. We got anything else, or is that going to be a show?
I think that's it.
Yeah, that's probably it.
All right. Well, if you'd like to find some more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with your dollars, you can go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, rate us, review us, subscribe to us. Everything helps. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Instagram and Twitter. And our blue sky is one-quest.com. You can also send us an email to social@one-quest.com. And our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo. Now, Rich, what does your streaming look like?
Twitch.tv/b_1 for video game streaming on Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. I'll still be playing Dragon Quest Builders 2 because that game just has so much in it. And I'm going to be starting something new at some point eventually. I just don't know what yet. October, I know it's still like a month and a half away. October is going to be like Little Nightmares 1 and 2, maybe 3 if I can get it, but that game isn't as good as the first two, so maybe I'll just get Reanimal, which is made by the same people who made Little Nightmares 1 and 2 after they got laid off. It's literally Little Nightmares, but not is Reanimal. And games and other games like that. I won't be doing any more Marvel Cosmic Invasion because the last 3 of the last 4 achievements I need require multiplayer use or multiplayer to get, and I don't have friends to play that with, so I can't get them, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm done with Marvel Cosmic Invasion, but I will be playing a bunch of other stuff as well. So just come hang out on stream.
Nice. Well, with that, we will be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
See yas.